I had a guy reach out to me today because he found himself plagued by his incessant thoughts appearing in his mind. And so I, to the best of my ability, tried to explain and help and aid this guy in whichever way I knew possible. And in fact, I wasn't able to relieve him, just as I'm not able to relieve you of anything, because at the end of the day, the only relief that you'll ever find is through your own presence, through your own investigation. And I cannot do that work for you. You can only do that for yourself, in yourself, as yourself. So whilst listening to this video, perhaps stay tuned in your own experience and listen in, discover, see for yourself how you can relieve yourself of this. So I found quite quickly that he was suffering from this very common illness that I consider to be thinking about thoughts. Very common trap that I'm sure we all experience from time to time, right? And it's quite funny in this way, because we think that by having a thought and then having a second thought telling that I don't want the first thought here, that somehow that is going to make the first thought disappear. But that is never the case, is it? What it really does is perpetuate this game of thinking, because the first, second thought are never alone. Because you'll then have a third thought saying, well, I'm still irritated about the first, and now the second thought, I'm still in this loop. How do I see my way out? And it's sort of like signing up for this game of Simon Says, which you never asked to be part of, but it was sort of just in this disposition of being doomed to do what your mind says. So if your mind says jump, you'll freaking jump. Every time. And it's so funny in this way, because if only we can allow space for our thoughts to appear in whichever way they want to appear, without labeling, describing, wanting them to be different, but instead being curious just to see, and in noticing with this open curiosity, we may then realize that, hey, I'm not influenced by the thoughts. I'm not even the thinker or the mechanism that produces the thoughts themselves. They simply appear, they are here, and they disappear. All by themselves, without our interaction with them. They'll do that all on their own. So if we imagine that this cactus over here is similar to a thought, or the rock up here, well, we may see the cactus and the rock and think that, hey, I want this cactus to be taller. I want this rock to be more radiant. Well, one reason the cactus is not taller is because there's a ceiling, which prevents it from doing so. But to get back on track, we may view these, and if we start having all sorts of thoughts about these objects themselves, we can spend our entire lives wanting them to be different from what they are. And that will yield exactly 0 results in life. And instead, if we simply notice that, hey, there's this spiky thing which, ooh, I better not touch it. And there's this rock up here which looks quite dull. And just notice that even without the spiky label, without the dull label, hey, there's this experience of what is here. That suddenly provides ample room just to notice, just to see, just to be with what is, right? And so in that moment, we may then realize that there is a space which we can call ourselves, in which these thoughts and objects appear. And suddenly, we're no longer in the game of thinking. Because this young fella, he asked me, well, do I just need to accept my thoughts? And I found this so funny and also kind-hearted in many ways, because yeah, in some form, it is just about being compassionate towards ourselves and accepting our experience as it is. But simultaneously, this can also be a second trap, you see, because trying to accept our condition, trying to accept our thoughts, is itself also a thought. Because in fact, upon further investigation, we find that, well, thoughts appear, whether we like them or not, right? And so our acceptance or non-acceptance of the thoughts or the conditions of mind doesn't matter. Because they're already, just by them being, just by them appearing, they're accepted in awareness. They're accepted in experience. And so there is an acceptance which doesn't require your personal acceptance. It doesn't care about your personal non-acceptance either. Because what is here, what is present, is in fact already always accepted by life itself, by experience itself. It is allowed to be. Otherwise it wouldn't be, right? And so, for just a moment, even prior to the idea of allowing your experience to be, just notice how your experience is. Whatever shape this moment takes, just be with it. Just be intimate. Just be intimate and close with what is here. This quiet noticing, this open, aware space of being that doesn't want anything from this moment, that doesn't require this moment of experience to take any particular form or to change. And that even if the desire for this to change appears, that is also seen and known and loved and accepted fully, because that is then the condition of this present experience. So in this, there is room for expectations and wants and dissatisfactions and descriptions, labels, all this stuff to appear. And in just the same way that I have no problem, I have no trouble with the cactus or the rock, just as I have no trouble with this back panel here, the wall over there. I mean, it is just the contents of experience that is here. And there is a peace in this. A peace that is not fabricated. A peace that is simply discovered. And so, the moment we want to be free of all thought, that is the moment we sign the declaration by which we ensure that we will always be troubled by thought. That is the moment in which there is no way out. So don't sign the contract of mind. Just simply realize that you don't need to be free from thoughts, because you can be free with thoughts. You can be free with all experience. And that is a much more free place to be, I'll tell you that. So, if you need coaching, guidance, assistance, or aid in any way whatsoever, you can find my spiritual life coaching program in the description down below. I'm here for you. Take care. Bye.